Well, I wish that I could do a video that wasn't always kind of negative or almost always negative, but today is kind of a typical day when it comes to what's wrong with the United States. Yesterday, in the US Congressional District number 11 for the state of Ohio, there was a special primary election, and it was between Nina Turner and Shontel Brown, and some lesser known names, but they were the two main candidates to be reckoned with each other. And Shontel Brown defeated Nina Turner, which was a major blow for the left yesterday. Very sad indeed. And I'm going to go and show you news footage about it. And as I was work graveyard shift, and getting this news was very, just very, well, not very, very sobering, shall I say. So let's go and do this. Alrighty.
Joined now by New York Times reporter Jeremy Peters and Washington Post columnist Eugene Robinson's. There's two of you. Thank you both very much for being here. Jeremy, you've been covering these races in Ohio. I want to ask you specifically about the Nina Turner Shontel Brown race. But this is folks are like waiting for the first results to come in because this really is a battle between the two wings of the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm. No, that's exactly right, Jonathan. And people I've spoken to on the ground really can't overstate how acrimonious and bitter it's gotten in this final stretch, where you have a flood, a cascade of outside money and politicians from outside the district, luminaries in the Democratic Party and the progressive movement, coming in and making their case for, but mainly against, the other candidate. And they haven't really seen anything this contentious in recent times. And I think a lot of folks there are quite unsettled by it and will be glad to have it over. That said, when it's done, I don't think you're going to have, regardless of who wins, a very clear answer about which wing of the party has the momentum behind it. It's a special election, and as you well know, most special elections don't draw very much turnout, and either side, the activist left flank of the party and the leadership in Washington is going to concede that they've screwed this up, and they're throwing up their hands and waving the white flag. So I think we've got 2022 ahead of us and a lot more races like these to cover.
Mm-hmm. And Gina, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, but also I am struck by how forward members of the Congressional Black Caucus have been in their comments in this race. You've got CBC Chairwoman Joyce Beatty, who said Shontel Brown would honor the rich history of the group, not be someone who fights against it while trying to make a name for themselves. Congressman Benny Thompson of Mississippi, Brown wouldn't be, quote, a single solitary know-it-all. Congressman Gregory Meeks of New York, she wouldn't, quote, come in and try to break up that unity. Gene.
Yeah, this is tough stuff. Look, you've got different personalities at work here too, and Nina Turner, let's face it, she's a lightning rod, or maybe a lightning bolt. I mean, she is a fiery speaker, a fiery person. To say that she doesn't mince words is really an understatement, and a lot of people, including Jim Clyburn, were offended and really ticked off some of the things she said during the 2020 presidential campaign, including a really scatological reference to Joe Biden that didn't go
we got
very
that
well in establishment land. And so they've all piled in behind Shontel Brown, but Turner has has the money. She has more money than Brown. I don't know if that's going to be the determining factor. And as you said, it's a special election, an off cycle, a special election primary. So who knows what turnout is going to be like, but you expect it'll be pretty low. And so the question is who motivates their voters to go out and vote, and we'll find out, I guess, in a little while.
Okay, well, they pretty much surmise what's about the battles that's been going on. It's not a figment of your imagination, nor is it a figment of mine. And that is the battle against the corporate Democrats versus the resurgent left in the Democratic Party. And think about it is, Nina Turner was on her way to winning the nomination, and Shontel Brown, just a few short weeks ago, was a far distant second. And all of a sudden, the Hillary Clinton endorsement came in, and the Jim Clyburn endorsement came in, Third Way endorsement, which, as I said before, Third Way is just a modern version of the Democratic Leadership Council, and Republican money backed Shontel Brown. So the good old boys club in DC, the establishment, they got their bases covered, and they saw Nina Turner as a threat and as a troublemaker. And gosh, doesn't Washington D.C. need some troublemakers for a change? But this is not the first time this happened. I've said this before about former Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney down in Georgia, and they saw her as a threat. The corporate Democrats then, which was actually louder and really more in control of the party. They're still in control of the party, but they have lost some of their power, and they hate it. Well, they and the Republicans worked together to go and to defeat. After they gerrymandered the district, they defeated Cynthia McKinney. And Cynthia McKinney just like, well, fuck the Democrats. I became a Green Party member. And in 2008, she ran as a Green Party candidate for president. And she would have been a much better choice than Barack Obama. Anyway, and it's not just Cynthia McKinney. In 2006, Senator Joe Lieberman of Connecticut, who's maybe even to the right of Joe Manchin today, if you can imagine that. One of the worst Democrats to be in an elected office. Thank goodness he's no longer in the U.S. Senate. Well, because of this Iraq war that he voted for, because he listen, it's not just George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. It's not just the majority of the Republicans in the House and the Senate that voted for this war in Iraq. Democrats, there's plenty of Democrats that have blood on their hands too. And Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, John Kerry, John Edwards, Joe Lieberman. And the thing about it is that Ned Lamont challenged Joe Lieberman in the primaries in 2006. He defeated Joe Lieberman. Not really a far leftist platform, but I would say that maybe Ned Lamont was a relatively, slightly further left Democrat than usual at that time. But he certainly wasn't Bernie Sanders. But obviously to the left of, let's say, someone like Chuck Schumer or another standard Democrat you can think of right now. Any standard Democrat in the U.S. Senate, your Cory Booker, your Amy Klobuchar, what have you. Obviously to the left of those people, but certainly not in the same area. I mean, he wasn't even as good as Elizabeth Warren today, but for its time, Ned Lamont was probably one of the better Democrats running. Well, Lieberman ran as a third party candidate. He ran as an independent, and then the Republicans backed Joe Lieberman, and a lot of corporate Democrats also backed Joe Lieberman. So Joe Lieberman ran as an independent, who that brings shame to the term independent, and got elected, and that piece of crap stayed up there for the next several years as a U.S. senator. I believe January 2013 he parted ways from the U.S. Senate. Good riddance, Joe Lieberman. Good riddance. That was my middle finger to you. But anyway, Shontel Brown's victory, basically, is really just dreadful, just shameful, absolutely shameful. And this is the kind of shit that's why some people call for a third party. Now, I am not 100% invested in working inside the Democratic Party. I am not 100% invested in working inside or outside the Democratic Party as 100% independent. I think that the only way you're going to get to where you need to go is to go and try to kind of do the inside out. And if the Democrat is not progressive and there's a Green Party candidacy or there's a or People's Party, I don't care what it is. If there's a third party that's to the left of the Democrats and the Democratic candidate in that particular seat is a piece of shit, go ahead, vote for that independent at that point. Because we need to stop rewarding people, people like Debbie Wasserman Schultz and people like people like Shontel Brown, Jim Clyburn. We don't need to keep Dianne Feinstein or all these other Democrats who are just corrupt. Joe Manchin, Kirsten Sinema. They are not our friends. We do not need to be supporting corporate Democrats ever. I'm not saying do not ever vote for another Democrat again, but my God, left-wing people, stop settling for the lesser evil. If the lesser evil is still evil, then they're just as bad as the Republicans. Shontel Brown will be just as useful to the progressive movement as Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I don't mean that she's exactly a nutcase like Marjorie Taylor Greene, but we all know that Marjorie Taylor Greene serves no purpose as far as bringing forth a progressive agenda. Really, when it comes down to it, neither would Shontel Brown, as far as issues like universal health care, Medicare for all, free college, the living wage, that sort of thing. These people are not our friends. They play us for a sucker, and they use the culture war to go and to divide people. And and we don't need another corporate Democrat. And she's going to easily win because it's a very blue district. So what does that mean as far as the blue district is concerned? Okay, Shontel Brown wins. Who gives a fuck? I don't care. Might as well have a Republican as far as I'm concerned, because Nina Turner would have been the real deal. She would have actually kind of taken the place of AOC as the leader of the squad, because Nina Turner, she's very blunt, and I'm saying that in a good way. And we need blunt progressives. We don't need progressives who are progressive, but once they get in there, they're part of the system. So anyhow, that's what I got to say. And unfortunately, last night's election was a win, not only for Democrats, but for the Republicans too. This is not good. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. Comment if you disagree with what I have to say. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we're the muckrakers of our time. Also, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you get hard-hitting social democratic commentary by yours truly, American Social Democracy. And until next time, peace and class struggle now.